Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Bakersfield, San Jose, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So I'm here with Stephen Gardner, and Trump sat down. It's a tradition that the president sits down after his first 100 days for a print interview with Time Magazine. They don't record it, video. It's just so ridiculous. We live in an age of video, and it's just nuts. But they don't. So they want you to read it. So we did. So here's there's a couple of things I want to talk about. So I have proof that Trump's advisors are lying to him, right? And so a president has to rely on his advisors. I mean, I think I'm busy. I can't imagine how busy a president would be. So this is one of the questions they asked him in their interview. They said, this, by the way, and here we see Trump has switched to a blue tie just to piss off the Pope. Anyway, another crazy story. But the Supreme Court ruled 9-0. This is what Time Magazine said to Trump. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that you have to bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador. You haven't done so. Aren't you disobeying the Supreme Court? Well, that's not what my people told me. They didn't say it was. They said it was that it was 9-0 with something entirely different, meaning what he was told, and I'm going to show you right now, his top advisor, Stephen Miller, said that the 9-0 decision by the Supreme Court, a conservative Republican Supreme Court, 9-0, said that you have to give people due process. That's what they said. So you can get rid of Abrego Garcia, but you have to give him a due process, meaning a court date, which, by the way, it doesn't mean a week. Most immigration court hearings last about 5 minutes. And so they're just saying you have to do this. You can't just, no matter how bad of a guy someone is, they get due process because we have to live by our Constitution. And so I stand with the conservative Republican Supreme Court in their 9-0 ruling. But Trump got misinformed about that ruling, and I'm going to show you what the misinformation was. Here, he's being asked about, are you going to bring, so what the Supreme Court said, hey, you have to do everything you can to facilitate his return back to the United States, even though he's an El Salvadorian citizen, even though he was deported before. When he was here, you still have to give him due process, and now that you didn't, and you kicked him out and you sent him to El Salvador, you're supposed to bring him back, give him his due process, and then get rid of him, which I don't understand why Trump would do. It just undermines Trump's. People are behind Trump on this immigration thing, and he's wrecking it with stupid stuff like this. But here, I'm going to show you why. Maybe because he's getting bad advice, and flat out he's being lied to. Here's Stephen Miller being asked about that, and Trump says, "Well, let me defer to my advisor, Stephen Miller, on this." And watch what Stephen Miller says.
Supreme Court's asking to.
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9.
So he says, Steve, what was the ruling in the Supreme Court? It's 9-0. Now Trump says that, thinking it was 9-0 in his favor. It wasn't. But Stephen Miller lied to him and told him this.
9-0
in our favor.
In our favor against.
There it is. There's Stephen Miller in front of a bevy of reporters, of other politicians, of the Secretary of State, J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi. He just flat out lies. They all know he's lying. And none of them go, hey, no, that's not true. It wasn't in our favor. And so here it is. Watch.
Supreme Court's asking to.
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0.
In our favor.
In our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time. No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked
Okay, so that's just Stephen Miller flat out lying. So Trump is not being served by his advisor. So now everybody sees this. Everybody sees that what they're saying is wrong. But this didn't really get the press it should have, that Stephen Miller was lying to him about what the Supreme Court said. And so Time Magazine goes on to ask him, they go, let me quote you from the ruling. After Trump says, I was told different. My lawyers told me different. So they go, well, let me quote you from the ruling. The order properly requires the government to facilitate Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador. Are you facilitating a release? He says, I leave it to my lawyers. I give them no instructions. They feel that the order said something very much different from what you're saying. But I leave it to my lawyers if they want, and that would be the Attorney General of the United States and the people that represent the country. I don't make that decision. So let me throw it to Stephen. So it's clear by that videotape and by the reading from Time Magazine, the court decision, that Trump is being lied to. So I think you have to give Trump the benefit of the doubt on this one. What do you say?
So I asked lawyer Alan Dershowitz when he came on my show about this, and he said that the focus of the 9-0 was on whether the district court had authority. I said, but didn't it kind of say that he needed to bring this guy back? And he said, yes, but the word they used was facilitate, not compelled. So he said because the Supreme Court didn't compel Trump to bring him back, it was basically at his discretion. And I said, wait a minute, if it's at his discretion and he wants illegal criminal gang members out of the country, is he going to call in a favor to El Salvador to get this guy back? And Alan Dershowitz said, I don't think so. So that was my understanding of it, is that they basically allowed this to come down to semantics. And the only reason I can think that they would maybe not want to do that is from the conservative news side, what I see is, well, there was no due process to get into the country. Why should we give them due process to get out of the country? So I don't have all of the details, but that was my understanding based on asking this same question to a lawyer.
So I'll just, one more time, this is from the Supreme Court. The order properly required. It doesn't say that Trump has to compel El Salvador, because he can't. But he has to at least ask, because what this says is the order properly requires the government to facilitate his release from custody. So that means that, my reading is that that at the very least he needs to request El Salvador, and then if El Salvador is willing to release him, then they have to take him back to the United States, give him his 5-minute court hearing, and then kick him out of the country. That's what the Supreme Court said. And so that's where I'm at with it. And Trump, he went on to say this. Said, do you believe he deserves his day in court? And Trump really kind of beat around the bush. He said, I believe that they made him look like a saint. And then we found out about him. He wasn't a saint. He was MS-13. He was a wife beater. And he had a lot of things that were very bad, very bad. When I first heard of the situation, I was not happy. And I found out that he was a person, wasn't. So if he's an MS-13 member, it takes 5 minutes to prove it in court. And then that's it. They'll probably kick him out. So again, you can't fix a problem by denying due process. We have to be better than the criminals. We have to abide by the Constitution. And in fact, he had a tattoo right on his, so that was also bullshit. So that was not true. He did not have MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. He had symbols tattooed on his knuckles that they said represented MS-13. Now, I don't know if you've seen a lot of the MS-13 gangs. They put MS-13 right on. They're not shy about it. They're not putting symbols. So this is also bad information he's being given. So I believe he's a man who's got quite a past. There's no longer blah, blah, blah. And I think this is a very bad, I think it's another men's-women's sport thing for the Democrats. Well, it's not. It's not. So again, he's being told, again, he's being given bad information, and you can't fix a problem by denying due process. And we have to show that we're better. And I'm sure in 5 minutes, the judge would have said, get him out of here, and he's gone. I'm sure that would have happened. And so the fact that they wouldn't take that step just undermines their own case. And now people are squabbling over this, which they shouldn't be. Because the spirit is correct, that the guy's here illegally. But you can't then undermine the rule of law by enforcing the spirit, right? And it would have worked. Oh, anyway, so any last words on this?
No, I agree with your interpretation. When I hear the word, you must facilitate something, to me that means like make it happen, go through the motions. That's why I asked a lawyer, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy on YouTube. But he made it sound like listen, unless they compel him, it's not going to happen. But I agree with you. You fly the guy back. He's given 5 minutes, although don't send him to Wisconsin with Judge Dugan.
Right.
And don't send him to New Mexico with that other Judge Cano. But, bring him in. Hey, we're kicking you out. Okay, goodbye. I think the major issue here is there's so many people they want to get out of the country that they feel like this slows them down. But I hear what you're saying. If you're no better than the criminals, then are we really a country of law?
Right. You can't commit a crime while you're trying to convict criminals or deal with criminals. You have to be above it. So, and especially when you're doing something as controversial as this, you should make sure you're above reproach. That would be my advice to Donald Trump, unlike Stephen Miller. Hey, have you ever tried getting ivermectin, methylene blue, or mebendazole from your regular doctor? Good luck. Most won't even talk about it. But the truth is, you shouldn't have to beg for these medicines that you want. And you shouldn't have to wait for permission to take care of your own health. I'm telling you, don't wait till you're sick. Be prepared, because when things go south, it's not the hospital that's going to save you. It's what you've already got at home. That's why I'm telling people about All Family Pharmacy. They're redefining what healthcare should be, helping you stay stocked with both essentials and everyday meds, no hassle. You order online. A licensed doctor reviews your order, writes the prescription, and boom, your meds shipped straight to your door, no hassle. They've got ivermectin, methylene blue, mebendazole, plus over 200 medications, including antibiotics, emergency kits, and your daily prescriptions. It's not just a pharmacy. It's the backup plan every family needs. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/door right now. Stock up. Be ready. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/door and use the code DOOR10 and get 10% off your order today. Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Bakersfield, San Jose, California, Buffalo, New York, Toledo, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Birmingham, and London. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.